when I was young, there was this cartoon on. Now it's an old cartoon called The Jetsons. Everybody's familiar with it. And one of the cool things about that cartoon was they had this robot called Rosie. And Rosie was the voice of wisdom, and she did a lot of the housekeeping, and you know she was as human as the humans, oddly. A very interesting um, perspective, very human creation. But it got me thinking, since from a young age, man, I really want to have some kind of robot or something that does all those tedious tasks for me. How are you spending your time today? Is it in front of a computer? Is it on your phone while you're doing something else that you'd rather not be doing? Is it something that you could have AI do? If you're not sure, try the tool below. A younger version of me would spend a lot of time focused on work. You might have an 8 hour a day job, but really that 8 hours turns into 10 hours, because, or even 11 or 12, because it's the time getting prepared, and then the time getting there, and then the time doing it, and you're trading time for money, which most people know that's kind of a losing proposition, because you only have time. There's a limit to how much you can make, even if it focuses on making more per hour. Small business owners get into running their own business because, well, they want to maximize their input, the income they make, and the time that they devote to it. And then at the same time, have the freedom to spend less time doing it. Nobody wants to work 8 hours a day. That's too much, right? Even if you're passionate about doing something, rarely is it, well, I mean, I guess that it comes and goes in seasons, but it's not something you think about, okay, I'm going to, you don't plan on becoming your own employee. You plan on figuring out a way to build wealth so that you're not an employee. So that's really what AI can do, is give you that time back, so you're not your own employer. It's hot out here, though, I won't lie to you. For most people, it's going to be time spent doing communications, email, phone call, sales calls. Oh, I have to go. I gotta go. You may notice I don't even wear a watch. I have this phone, but that's as close as it gets to a timekeeping device. The real trick is figuring out where you spend and waste your time. A cool thing I learned about recently, somebody told me this is how they go shopping. They set up the AI to keep an inventory of what's in their refrigerator, right? I forget exactly how they keep track of it. Maybe some system, I don't. Some of these fancy new refrigerators can keep track of what food it has in there and tell you what it's missing, right? But there's an inventory level, right? That's set up to automatically order a regular order through Uber every week to replenish what's being used in the week, right? So they don't even go to the store. They don't open they don't open an app, they don't see anything. It's automatically paid for. The order shows up, and then all they got to do is take the grocery order that shows up and put it in the fridge. They don't spend the time getting in the car to go to the store. They don't spend the time walking around the store. They don't spend the time waiting in line, unloading the cart, loading it up again, loading the groceries back into the car. If you think about how much time you spend doing that, on average for most people, if you go to the store once a week, it's usually an hour and a half to 2 hours that you spend doing that alone, just going to the store. Even if AI can shave off an hour of that, that's 4 hours a month you're getting back, right? Wouldn't you rather spend those 4 hours doing something else? Years ago, I was a website builder, and I made a few websites. And one of the first steps is you make a prototype or mock-up, right, for your prospective client to either get the business or show them first iteration of what you're planning to do. And so we would take their input And then you could do this in minutes, now seconds with AI, but used to be it would take a day or two, and you would take their input, graphics they provide to you, and an idea. Maybe you have a list of the pages they want to make, that kind of thing, and you'd put it together as a presentation to show them. And I remember I would spend hours putting something together and meticulously crafting the corners and deciding the palette and making it all perfect. And what I realized is, because I would present it to the client and they would look at it and go, yeah, that's not anything I like at all. It's horrible. I don't like the colors. I don't like the layout. And I would get so upset with their response, to the point where I would say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Not to them directly, but, to myself, I would say, you don't know what looks good. And that I realized what it was. I was focused on my opinion and my taste. And really, that wasn't what the job was. The job was to be the outlet for their taste and their opinion. And it took me a couple of years of struggling with that part of the process to come to the determination that I just needed to stop being an artist, because I wasn't. I was a facilitator, and make the vision that they had, not the vision that I had. Well, with AI, that whole rote process is removed. Now everybody can just be the creator, focus on their taste, their interest, how they want to present it. Creating this thumbnail, what I realized was, when I came back to it later and I gave specific instructions on, I want it to look like this, and I want it to have, this presentation. That was the next iteration of the thumbnail specifically. And what surprised me is, I didn't have to open a program. I didn't have to do anything. I spoke with my AI and it did everything for me. Not everything. It didn't do the thinking for me, but it did all of the actual work, the cropping of the image and the overlay of the text and creating the shadow, the border around the text, all of that. That was all done by AI. I didn't, and then even to the point where I was producing the video, this last video, I needed to promote that through other channels too, as you do. When I started doing all that and using AI, it went really quickly. I had planned half a day for each of the additional streams I wanted to promote things to, but really I did 4 streams from start to finish, including being published online in about 2 hours. And that just was amazing to me. Even as someone who uses AI every day, I was super impressed, and almost to the point of, okay, now what do I do for the rest of my day? I've got all that done, and it didn't take me the time I expected. Now what am I going to do? But if you want to just do it yourself, you can go to any AI, and Chat GPT is a favorite one that people know of, and just go there and start a conversation. Don't think of it like a search engine. Think of it like a chat with someone who's has the library at their fingertips. Say, hey, this is what I do, and this is how I spend my time. Let's do a little role playing, right? I want you to pretend to be a life coach, right? I want you to pretend to be a life coach and help me audit my time, review the time I spend in a day doing stuff, and help me find opportunities where I could get that time back. There's a lot of ways you can do it, you just got to start working on it. There's a tool down here. You want to try it out for yourself and see how AI can save you your time.